Hello listeners, welcome to Mahatma Gandhi Letters. This is an approach to know Mahatma Gandhi's life through the letters and articles he has written. Dear listeners, from the previous episodes, we get a sense of how much of a self-esteemed person and a perfectionist Gandhi was from the way he lived in London. Gandhi, when he was Mohandas before he became Mahatma, advocated two things the most. That is truth and vegetarianism. After completing his studies in London, as soon as Gandhi came to Bombay, he received a shocking news. His mother, Puthaalibaayi, whom Gandhi loved immensely, was no more. Gandhi was shocked. He stayed in Bombay for a few days to recover from that sorrow. Further days were very hard. By this time, Gandhi's first son Haarilaal was 4 years old, and his second son Maanilaal was also born. Although Gandhi had completed his law studies abroad, it was very difficult for him to find a suitable job in India. 2 years passed in despair. After witnessing indiscipline and petty politics of the princely states of Portobandar and Bombay, Gandhi began to realize that forging a future there would lead to the destruction of his personality. That was the time when Gandhi heard a news about a Muslim merchant Abdullah in South Africa who needed a Gujarati-speaking lawyer for a lawsuit. Because merchants' all documents were in Gujarati language. When he got this news, Gandhi began to dream of a new future. Gandhi was ready to leave for South Africa immediately. He was in such an urgency that when he heard that the ship bound to South Africa was full and there was no seats for him, Gandhi, who usually was a shy person, himself went and spoke to the captain of the ship and succeeded in securing a place in the ship. It was April 1893, the beginning of Gandhi's new life. Once landing in South Africa, in very few days, Gandhi saw barbaric life of Indians there, and he was so saddened. In the next episode, detailed background story of Indian community's life in South Africa is discussed. But before that, Gandhi's article published in journal The Natal Advertiser on September 13, 1893, about the humiliation of an Indian origin trader named Pillay, who was pushed off the footpath by not allowing to walk on it, caused a sensation in South Africa. When Pillay had expressed his humiliation in a journal called The Transvaal Advertiser, Europeans there and their newspapers attacked Pillay with vile insults. They also made false accusations that Indian origin traders are causing ill health in our society under this pretext. Some Europeans, who had already developed a sense of inferiority with the success of the Indian origin traders, were resentful of the Indians taking away their opportunities. Gandhi felt this was very unfair. So Gandhi's reply for them was this article. In this article called The Indian Trader, it was written in detail how badly Indian traders and other Asiatic people were treated compared to Europeans. And he says that there are many lessons for Europeans to learn from them rather than suffocating Indian traders. And the article as follows. Pretoria, September 19, 1893. To the editor. The Natal Advertiser. Sir, I shall be very thankful to you if you would be good enough to find place for the following in your paper. Mr. Pillay, who recently wrote to the Transvaal Advertiser, has been taken to pieces for being nasty by some gentlemen here and by the papers there. I wonder if your leader about the wily wretched Asiatic traders, the real canker that is eating into the very vitals of the community. These parasites, who live a semi-barbaric life, would not bear Mr. Pillay's letter out of the field in a hard word competition. However, tastes differ as to style, and I have no right to sit in judgment upon anyone's style of writing. But why all this outpouring of wrath on the poor Asiatic traders? It is difficult to see how the colony is in danger of literal ruination. The reasons, so far as I can gather from your leading article of the 15th instant, can be summed up in the following words. One Asiatic has gone into insolvency and paid £5. This is a fair sample of an Asiatic trader. He has driven out the small European trader. Now, granting that a majority of Asiatic traders do become insolvent and pay very little to their creditors, which is not at all the case, is that a good reason for driving them out of the colony or South Africa? Does it not rather show that there must be a defect in the insolvency law, that they can thus ruin their creditors? If the law would give any latitude for such practices, people would take advantage of it. Do not the Europeans seek the protection of the insolvency court? I do not, of course, mean to defend the Indian traders by this tu quoque argument. I sincerely regret that the Indians should resort to such practices at all. It is a disgrace to their country, which one time had too great an idea of its honor to be associated with any dishonest dealing in trade. But it certainly seems to me that a case is not made out for expelling the Indian traders on the strength of the fact of their availing themselves of the law of bankruptcy. Not only can the law put a stop to the frequent occurrence of such cases, but the wholesale merchants too, by being a little more careful, can do so. And by the way, does not the very fact that these traders do get credit from the European merchants show that they are not, after all, so bad as they are portrayed by you? If the small European trader has been driven out, is it to be laid at their door? This shows, it would appear, a greater competency on the part of the Indian trader in commerce, and this very superior competency is to be a reason for his expulsion. I ask you, sir, is this fair? If one editor edited his paper more ably than his rival, and consequently drives the latter out of the field, how would the former like to be told that he should give place to his crestfallen rival because he, the successful one, was able? Should not the superior ability be a special reason for encouragement so that the rest may try to rise as high? Is it a sound policy to stifle healthy competition? Should not the European trader take a leaf out of the book of the Indian trader, if that be not below his dignity, and learn how to trade cheaply, how to live simply? Do unto others as you would be done by. But you say these wretched Asiatics live a semi-barbaric life. It would be highly interesting to learn your views of a semi-barbaric life. I have some notion of the life they live. If a room without a nice, rich carpet and ornamental hangings, a dinner table, perhaps unvarnished, without an expensive tablecloth, with no flowers to decorate it, with no wines spread, no pork or beef ad lib, be a semi-barbaric life. If a white comfortable dress, specially adapted to a warm climate, which, I am told, many Europeans envy them in the trying heat of summer, be a semi-barbaric life. If no beer, no tobacco, no ornamental walking stick, no golden watch chain, no luxuriously fitted sitting room, be a semi-barbaric life. If, in short, what one commonly understands by a simple frugal life be a semi-barbaric life, then indeed the Indian traders must plead guilty to the charge, and the sooner the semi-barbarity is wiped out from the highest colonial civilization, the better. The elements that generally constitute a reason for expulsion of a people from civilized states are entirely absent in the case of these people. You will agree when I say that they are not a political danger to the government, since they meddle very little, if at all, in politics. They are not notorious robbers. I believe there is not a single case of an Indian trader having suffered imprisonment, or even been charged with theft, robbery, or any of the heinous crimes. I speak under correction. Their teetotal habits make them exceptionally peaceful citizens. But they spend nothing, says the leading article under discussion. Don't they? I suppose they live on air or sentiments. We know that Becky lived on nothing a year in Vanity Fair, and here a whole class seems to have been found out doing the same. It is to be presumed they have to pay nothing for shop rents, taxes, butcher's bills, grocer's bills, clerks' salaries, etc., etc. One would, indeed, like to belong to such a blessed class of traders, especially in the present critical condition of the trade all the world over. It seems, on the whole, that their simplicity, their total abstinence from intoxicants, their peaceful, and above all, their business-like and frugal habits, which should serve as a recommendation, are really at the bottom of all this contempt and hatred of the poor Indian traders. And they are British subjects. Is this Christian-like? Is this fair play? Is this justice? Is this civilization? I pause for a reply. Thanking you in anticipation for inserting this, M.K. Gandhi. The Natal Advertiser, 23rd September, 1893. Dear listeners, this was the sensational article called The Indian Trader that Gandhi wrote in the beginning days of South Africa. This article made Gandhi a talk of town. In the next episode, before moving further with Gandhi's life, it seems necessary to tell the social and political background story of the South Africa of 18th century. So let's meet again with the story of South Africa in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Mahatma Gandhi Letters. This is an approach to know Mahatma Gandhi's life through the letters and articles he has written.